Good day, wonderful pupils at home. I welcome you to today's edition of our digital class. Welcome. Get your writing materials, sit up, and let's move through this class together. I hope we are going to have a very nice time together. All right, before we move to today's class, let's quickly take a very brief look at our previous lesson. In the previous class, we considered the forms of heat transfer, which are conduction, convection, and radiation. You can still remember I told us what conduction is, the transfer of heat through solid materials like metals. Metals are good conductors of heat. And convection, the transfer of heat through fluid, which are liquid and gases. And radiation, the transfer of heat through vacuum or empty spaces. Okay, so go through the previous class, so that you can, remind yourself of what we looked at in the previous class. So today we want to look at heat and temperature as a topic. Heat and temperature. Heat and temperature. Now, in the previous class I introduced us to this topic. We defined temperature, and temperature is defined as the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. The degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Agree with me? And temperature can also be described as the quantity of heat in a body. So if I say I want to know the temperature of a body, that means I want to know the amount of heat in the body. That is the quantity of heat in the body. Okay? Temperature is measured with an instrument called thermometer. Everybody should know that a thermometer is used to measure temperature. Now, please take note of this. Temperature has three major scales or units for measuring it. Number one, that's three major scales or units for measuring it. Number one, we have the Celsius or centigrade scale. Celsius or centigrade scale. Number two, Fahrenheit scale. And number three, Kelvin scale. The centigrade is together, is broken because of the size of the circle used. Fahrenheit is also together. Okay. Now, the Celsius or centigrade scale is the most commonly used scale out of these three. Very common. Degree Celsius. While Fahrenheit scale is the oldest out of the three units. A very old unit of measuring temperature. Then Kelvin is the standard, or we call it the absolute temperature scale. The standard or the absolute temperature scale. Please take note of those three. Okay, now said we measure temperature with an instrument called thermometer. Can we take a look at this? Can you tell me what we have on the screen? The first one looks like a pen. And the second one looks like a pistol, a gun. I believe some of you are familiar with these pictures. These are examples of thermometers. Okay? If the second one is commonly used now, you know what it's used for? To measure temperature. Okay? Anyone that has a coronavirus, the temperature will be very high, above the average human temperature. What is the average human temperature? That is 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, take note of that. Average human temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So, the two instruments there are thermometers. They are thermometers. So, we want to look at the various types of thermometers. Types of thermometers. Number one, we have clinical thermometer. Okay, clinical thermometer. We call these two thermometers clinical thermometer. These are very good examples of clinical thermometers. Okay, they are used in hospitals, they are used in schools, they are used at home to take the temperature of the human body. The second one is just pointed to the face, to the forehead. It doesn't necessarily need to have contact with the body. The second one can be placed in the mouth or under the armpit, and the temperature reads digitally and it's shown on the screen. Okay, the second type of thermometer is mercury in glass or maximum thermometer. Mercury in glass or maximum thermometer. What does that mean? I know you're curious, you want to know. I'll let you know as we go on. Then the third one is alcohol in glass or minimum thermometer. Alcohol in glass or minimum thermometer. While the fourth one is wet and dry bulb thermometers, or we call it hygrometer. Now, the diagram for clinical thermometer has been shown on the screen. Now, let's look at mercury in glass thermometer, alcohol in glass thermometer, and wet and dry bulb thermometer, which is also called hygrometer. Now, look at the two diagrams to your left. Alcohol thermometer, mercury thermometer. Now, we call it alcohol in glass thermometer because if you can see, look at the thermometer has a tube, okay, like a glass, and just like the tube, it has a glass surface, then a tube inside it, just like the tube of your pen. And inside the tube, just like your pen, you have ink inside the tube of your pen, but inside the tube of a thermometer, there are two liquids that can be there. It's either it is alcohol or mercury. Okay, it is this liquid that helps to determine the temperature rise or fall of a body or an object. Okay, now naturally alcohol are colorless substances, but if you look at the alcohol in glass thermometer, you see it is reddish in color. It has red color. Why is it so? It is so because if the natural state of the alcohol has been used to fill the thermometer and the temperature is rising or falling, there is no how you can easily read that because it will blend with the glass. It is colorless. But now when alcohol is used in a thermometer, the tube is tinted red. Okay, it is painted red or blue color. Okay, and that makes it easier to read the temperature differences in the thermometer. Okay, so that is why you see an alcohol in glass thermometer always have a reddish or blue color. Okay, now mercury in glass, that is mercury inside the glass, mercury in glass thermometer. Mercury naturally has a little bit dark color, just like the color of your pen. Okay, and it is also used to measure temperature. Okay, so you don't need to paint that with any color because the color, it is not a colorless liquid. Now, why is alcohol thermometer called minimum thermometer? It is called minimum thermometer because it can be used to measure very small temperature that is less than 0, like -5, -20, any temperature that has a negative sign is less than 0. It is a very small temperature, like the temperature of your fridge. Very, very small temperature. So it can be used to measure very small temperature. That's why it is called minimum thermometer. Then why is mercury in glass thermometer called maximum thermometer? It is called maximum thermometer because it can be used to measure a high temperature. Okay, a high temperature above 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so take note, alcohol in glass thermometer can be used to measure low temperature, while mercury in glass thermometer can be used to measure a very high temperature. Please take note of the two. Now we look at the next one, the third one, which is a wet and dry bulb thermometer. If you look at the thermometer here, you see there are two bulbs inside, and that's what is called wet and dry bulb thermometer, and it is also called hygrometer. Remember, a hygrometer is used to measure the amount of water vapor in the environment, and that is what is called humidity. hygrometer is used to measure humidity, which is the amount of water vapor in the air. Okay, so I hope the various types of thermometer is clear with the examples displayed on the screen. Alright, so let's now look at the various differences between heat and temperature. Heat and temperature. Do we have differences between them? Of course, there are differences between them. Number one, heat is a form of energy, but temperature is not a form of energy. Temperature is a quantity of energy, heat energy in a body. Heat is a form of energy. You agree with me? Because heat can do work. Heat can boil water, heat can iron your clothes, heat can keep you warm. But temperature is just the amount of heat or the quantity of heat in the body. That is the first difference. Number two, heat does not depend on temperature, but temperature depends on heat. Yes, for you to have heat, it doesn't depend on temperature. But heat, you cannot have temperature without heat. So you can say, the temperature of this body is high because there is heat in the body. So when heat is applied to a body, what happens to temperature? It rises. When heat is withdrawn from a body, what happens to temperature? It falls. So temperature depends on heat. Number three, heat cannot change the state of matter. Heat can change the state of matter. Yes. For example, when you apply heat to solid is a state of matter, the solid changes to liquid. If you apply heat to liquid, the liquid changes to vapor. So heat can change one state of matter to another state of matter. But temperature does not have any effect on the change on the state of matter. Number four, heat flows. We discussed that in the last class. Flows from one point to another, but temperature does not flow. Then, lastly, heat is measured in joules. Joules. Say that with me. Joules. While temperature is measured in Kelvin, which is a standard unit of measuring temperature. Alright, so quickly let's move to the last part of our lesson, which is energy conversion. So I want you to take note of this. There is a law. Now write the law of energy conservation. The law of energy conservation. The law of energy conservation states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but can be changed from one form to another. I repeat that. The law of energy conservation states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but can be changed from one form to another. Now, what does that mean? That means you cannot create energy, you cannot destroy energy, but energy can be changed from one form to another form. For example, Daniel eats yam. Yam is an example of food, and I hope you know all food substances contain which type of energy? Food energy? No. Chemical energy. Food substances contain chemical energy. So the chemical energy in the food eating, okay, we now make Daniel to play ball, okay, or Daniel now begins to run from one place to another. So the chemical energy in the food has been converted to kinetic energy because Daniel is moving from one place to another. That is kinetic energy. Another example, if you plug your electric iron, the electric iron becomes hot and generates heat. That is what? The electric iron uses electricity, and the electricity changed to heat. So that is electrical energy changed to heat energy. If you plug your radio or your TV, okay, it produces sound, okay. That is what? Electrical energy being converted to sound energy, okay. Now, if a moving car uses petrol, isn't it? The petrol in the car is chemical energy. So and the moving car has kinetic energy. So that's chemical energy being converted to what? Kinetic energy. Okay? So we have various forms of energy conversion. You can go through the diagram and go through your textbook to see more examples of energy conversion. So this is where we are going to draw the curtain for today's class. I believe you have learned one or two things, and I believe you have had a very nice time together. So I hope to see you in the next class. Make sure you are reading your notes. The notes you're taking down, you're reading them, and we shall meet again in the next class. See you and bye for now. Remember, I love you all.